Well, there have been over 80 hours of baseball coverage en masse in this week with O's Extra, Nat's Extra, the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report, and of course the Orioles and Nationals games. So if you've missed any of that, you're at the right place right here for Mid-Atlantic Magazine. I'm Carolyn Shomley, joined by Jim Duquette of MLB Network Radio. And Jim, let's start off with the Orioles, who had a great first opening homestand, came back home, faced Toronto and Tampa Bay. One pitcher that O's Extra highlighted was Ubaldo Jimenez. He's had a rough first couple starts for the Orioles, 0-3 so far to start his career with the Orioles. What are your thoughts on him so far?
You know, it's funny because I didn't expect him to get out to this slow a start, but certainly when you start to look at him pitching in the American League East, the numbers aren't really good. And I think it's been a little bit of that, a little bit of, I think he has 4 or 5 pitches that I'd like to see him narrow down to 3. He's got the fastball, the good fastball, a good breaking ball, and maybe a split finger or changeup, and just leave it at that. No need to have 5 pitches. You can't command 5 pitches and work on that in between starts effectively to be able to throw as many strikes. And I think that's been the problem. He hasn't been throwing enough strikes. He's gotten himself into trouble. I think he'll be fine. You know, I know the Orioles certainly are betting on that, but I think you know, the early starts, obviously, you'd like to see him get off to a better start.
So Oriole fans have seen him on the field, obviously not thrilled with the outcome so far. But O's Extra took a look at Ubaldo's life off the field as Rob Long went and covered the bases with Jimenez. Here's a look at what Rob found out about the newest Orioles starter.
In January of 1984, Ubaldo and Ramona Jimenez gave birth to Ubaldo Jr. in the town of Nagua in the Dominican Republic.
I came from a poor family. My dad was in the army for 13 years, and then a bus driver, and then my mom was a nurse. My parents, they made my sister and me go to school every single day so we can get hopefully get a better future. At the same time, they made us study English. So by the time I came to the United States, I knew how to write and how to read.
Ubaldo started to show signs of his baseball potential by age 6 when he began to throw the ball much harder than other boys his age. He would try to imitate the big leaguers from the Dominican that he saw playing in Major League Baseball.
I definitely idolized Sammy Sosa, at the same time Manny Ramirez, Vladimir Guerrero, Raul Mondesi. But then when I was 15, I couldn't hit, I couldn't run, so they made me be a pitcher. I mean, that's what they told me. They told me the only chance is to go to the mound because you have a good arm. And then after that, I kept, Pedro Martinez. He was everything in the Dominican Republic.
Jimenez gained the attention of some Major League scouts when he entered his teen years, but his mother made sure that education came first.
When I was 16 years old, I was doing a tryout for the Mets, and then they wanted to sign me, but my mom said no. You have to finish high school. That's the #1 thing. And then when I was 17, I made a tryout for the Rockies, and then Rolando Fernandez, he told my mom, you know what, I want to sign him so bad that I'm going to sign him and I'm going to let him go back to school.
Ubaldo began his professional career in the Dominican Summer League. It wasn't until June of 2002 that the 18-year-old made his way to the United States of America for the first time.
When I landed in Provo, Utah. So everyone was blonde, everyone had green eyes, blue eyes. I was like, wow, this is like being in a movie. I never seen so many American people at the same time. I mean, in my country, you see 2 or 3, a couple here, a couple there. But I mean, coming to a new country, everybody speaking English, and blonde, that you could see only the girls on TV.
Because of his mother's emphasis on education, Ubaldo was well prepared for his new life in America.
I knew how to write, I knew how to read, so I was, you could say, very prepared than most of the guys, because sometimes some of the guys, they go to McDonald's, things like that, and they don't even know how to ask for wings, so they had to make a sign, I want wings, or things like that.
The hard-throwing righty not only learned how to pitch in the minor leagues, he also learned about the staples of American cuisine.
I spent 5 years in the minor league. I was like, come on, this is what they eat. I lunch, things like that, you know. After batting practice in the minor league, you take a break and you go get some oranges, you get some apple, and then most of the American guys, they only get peanut butter sandwich and jelly. So, but after the 5 years in the minor league, I was like, I'm tired of this. But then I got to the major league, and I started eating steak, I started eating potato, I started eating all of the good things. But every now and then I feel like, wow, I'm really craving peanut butter jelly and such.
After going 4-0 with a 1.09 ERA last September for the Cleveland Indians, the free agent Jimenez had his choice of teams to sign with in the offseason, but he wanted to join the Oriole flock.
You want to be playing for meaningful games in September. I mean, you could get all the money that you want, but it's not fun if you come every day knowing that you don't have a chance to win. I mean, this game is only fun when you win.
And our thanks to Rob Long. That leads us to this week's Twitter question. And every week we want to hear from you, the fan at home. Tweet us at Masson Sports with the hashtag MidAtlanticMag. And this week's tweet comes from @JohnSmith. And Jim, he asks you, who will end up being the better signing, the Braves with Ervin Santana or the Orioles with Ubaldo Jimenez? And your thoughts?
It's a tough question. I think on the surface, right now Santana's off to a great start for the Braves, and he's looked like he's been the better pitcher. I think, though, when you give up a draft pick, which both teams did, you like to have more control over them than just 1 year. So for me, I think the Orioles will end up benefiting the most out of it. They'll have 3 more years out of Jimenez. Now, that's granted that Jimenez pitches the way we're expecting him to, but I think right now the early return, Santana's been better. But I think that the Orioles will end up liking that deal eventually, once he settles in.
Well, the good news is the season is still young. There's still a lot more to be seen from Jimenez, both on and off the field. And again, that story came to us from O's Extra. And just a reminder, you can catch O's Extra every day before and after every Orioles game right here on Masson. This week coming up, you can catch it on Monday before the Orioles take on the Red Sox, 10:30 a.m. And then they move on to Toronto, 6:30 every night on Masson 2. And on Friday, when they return home to face Kansas City, again on Masson HD at 6:30, you can join Tom Davis and Rick Dempsey before and after every game with highlights, player sound, features, and more. Coming up, we will remember Jackie Robinson with the story that first aired on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report. That's when we come back. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Good work.